Hello everyone, how you doing? Hope you everything is good. This is Al Rasul with you, AWS Community Builder, and this video is regarding our article part 2 in the MLOps world, our journey in the AWS MLOps best practices. Now in this article, we talked a lot about feature store and things like this, and this video is regarding feature stores. But before we go into feature stores, we have to have a feature. So we have to do pre-processing things. So I think that we using get advanced from the video and using both AWS Data Wrangler, which is a very powerful, good UI tool that can be used to generate feature and combine it as a data flow to our feature store. So without further ado, let's go and see what we're going to do. Firstly, you have to be in the AWS SageMaker Studio, and then you have to go to File, New, and hit Data Wrangler Flow. Now, what Data Wrangler is doing for us is it's a very powerful data generating tool or data pre-processing tool, and also it contains a lot of things. So firstly, you have to give it your source of data. Either it has to be in AWS S3 or from Athena. If you have external database, you connect it to Athena and then connect back to a Data Wrangler, or maybe if you have it on AWS Redshift or Snowflake. So this is your options. Now to me, I want to start with AWS S3, and I will hit here and go to check out that if I have a data that already, let's see, this tabular data. As you can see, firstly, because before you import the data, you can see that some brief of the data itself. Now we hit import. Everything is the UI if you have using any UI tool for doing these things. So let's see. The first part is that when it ingestion the data from its source, it check its data type, which is very important thing that if you know. Because in this, when you hit double click on it, that it's automatically knowing the data type here. So if you're expecting something different, you can change it. If not, this can be your validation method. So if you're not expecting, if you're expecting this to be string and the input data has happened to be integer, so there is a problem with the incoming data that it cannot go to the next step. So what I want to do is that the first thing that maybe you want to add some kind of analysis on top of this. So maybe we want to take a summary of the table summary. Simply just you hit in table summary here, it will give you this information. This is good information for you, as you know that we want to understand the ranges of the data, understand that this is, as you can see that. Let's get it back to you. Max, mean, standard deviation, mean, and count. So for feature A, max, minimum value, mean, and it's nice that you have in this value when you hover on it, and also the number of the rows on it. So you can see that if you get back to here that uh, so there is a missing data. Okay, this is good indicator, or you know these things. Now you hit the preview, it will just regenerate things, and so you can add it here. I does not give it a name, but actually it will be an analysis on top of this stage. Now, maybe I want to add some kind of a pre-processing transformation because that we wanted to create the feature store. So let me get you a good overview of it. Firstly, if you find something not here or you want to do your own hard work, you can just simply customize transformation and you can do the following. Maybe you want to use Python by Spark, use by Spark, pandas. Okay, so or maybe you can use pandas, and you have to get notice that using Python pandas that your data set to fit in the memory and only use a single instance in the batch. Okay, it is ideal for smaller data set, of course, because it has to fit in this memory limits. And also you can use SQL as a BySQL. But for most of the work, distributed work, you can use PySpark. Now, many of this transformation that maybe you want to do is already here. So maybe we want to handle missing. So first thing that you want to fill missing or impute. Maybe you want to say impute. So columnar type is it is a numeric, input column, which one that we may say we seen feature A, which was have a missing, and here that approximate median, or you can use whatever you want. And now you can hit to preview it to start the processing it, and you can add. And now you can get here, it is extra step that has been added. You can still keep on using this thing. Also, you can join or concatenate. Also, there is a lot of analysis that you can do. You can do a quick model. You can so you can get feature importance. Also, you can collect that the feature correlation. There is a lot of things that you can do on top of these things. Okay, so when you said done, we want to export. Now, what we want to do? We want to do the following, that from this, we want to export the data that is getting from this last step. So we want to do is export what we want to export. First, maybe you save it to the S3 via Jupyter Notebook, or maybe you run it on a SageMaker pipeline. We will get to the pipeline. If you don't know it, we will use it as a I have described it in the first article and get you very overview about the AWS SageMaker pipeline, which is actually a way that we sticking steps together as related steps. So step one, step two, step one pre-processing, step two extra stuff. If it's go okay, go to modeling. If it's not, go and something like this. Okay. But what we want to do is that we wanted to save it to feature store via, and the beautiful thing is here is that you will get a Jupyter notebook. So let's jump to this one. What's happened is that when we hit in this, we'll get a Jupyter notebook that's containing all the code that is needed so we can export this data flow, because this flow is some kind of a file containing the information and also a code, and it's also doable from the code. So let's focus. I will not run it all because it will take a time and I don't want to take your time, but I will tell you the more important thing. So the first thing is that, as you can see here, it's get to know the schema of the data we have. So it know that this is the ID and its type string. This is category and say this is simply that if you describe information of any data frame, that you can take these things and take it as a schema for your data. You can change it if you don't like it, because maybe you think that there is error or a problem, or maybe you're expecting something different. So now this is the schema of the file. The other thing is that as you can see here, this is some kind of logic or what we're going to do in the feature store. So it's saying that the feature store type, the feature store type mapping, we got the information of long and float. Now there is a definition. The definition said that create a feature name, which is a schema column name, and you can see in here that will create the features. This is schema. Here is the name. Here is the name. So it will create for each of these things, each of this stuff, and it will take its type and add it to the feature. So this kind of this loop will take from the schema and will add it to definition. So the feature store, as we defined in the article, we have to have a definition, which is the schema of our data. And here we take it from data wrangler automatically. We don't write it, and we use it here. Now we have to create a group, which is some kind of the default, or let's say that we have a feature store. So these it's a group of features been meant to be together as a one coherent related object. So basically that, let me zoom in, I cannot see this more. Oh yes, okay. So you can start the session, taking the default packet and execution rule, all of this thing that we know. And also it's gonna to take some kind of a unique ID with time and thing like this. So, and it's well creating, and now it's just this code to create, so you can know that we have the flow. You have to have an ID and a name for the flow itself. It's taking the name of the Jupyter file, no, not to worry. And now, where is the URI? Because this is an offline feature store. So the bucket in the S3 where it has to be. So the data will be there for offline writing. Okay. So now we can create the feature group. So what's happened is that when the feature group is that firstly we're taking the execution and runtime and like this. We start in feature session. The session has been passing all the information needed for the session itself. Now this is the main calls for creating feature group. So it will, if it's offline, it's give it the URI, it is give it the identifier of it, and also the event in time for it, and also we think like I am rolling thing like this. So does we enabling online store? I think no, not. Yes, here that we enabling online store. Just this is just a boolean that you can pass it. Okay, so this is initialization and creation. Now we, as you can see that it's just to wait until everything ready and completed. So all of this thing is in automated and created for you. And now this is just that passing through the data, taking the thing, uploading the flow itself, and extra stuff that to be need done. So mostly that the thing that we creating when we creating this group, then we can feeding the record inside the group. So you can also uploading the flow. This is the untitled flow, which is here. This will be uploaded in your S3 bucket, and just we initiating that. This is our flow. It is that we put it as a pre-processing input, and the source of it, which is we while we upload it. So this is the flow URI from the S3 itself, and also the type of file, anything like this. So now we can run this pre-processing job. As usual, this is going to be some kind of container, and this container we have the instant type for it, how much this the count, the number of these machines that will be running the code, and the file type, the output that we wanted to do, and also other configurations. So we take in the configuration, now we start in the job. It is just a pre-processing job. This the pre-processing job will can take the container URI and take the instant type and extra things, and also the KMS key if we have. We don't have one right here. And then that we just hit and run. So we run in this. So we check in the job status and taking the outputs. So that's all. That's the thing that after we done in this, we actually going to export, and export take this thing for us, and this is the main thing. So the main thing that the feature stores that we create is something easily in the code. We just configure it. We just creating a group of it, and the code is already in front of you. We just have to have a definition for our feature, a schema for it, and we have to have get it from a pre-processing stage, and we have to just hit create initiating a session for it and create it as a group, and we can just feed in it with the data from the output of the pre-processing stage or whatever that we have done. So this is the main overview of creating feature stores from the AWS. And as you have seen that we get benefit from the AWS SageMaker Data Wrangler as our data flow. So the data flowing here, we analyzes, we can do transformation, many stuff on it. And in the final step, whenever that you find it is okay, you can export. And there is many things that you can do with, maybe you export it as a Python code. So all of this stuff, you can get it as a code, and then you can ship it with your container if you don't need it to be as a this flow. And maybe you can get it to save the output to the S3. So all this pre-processing will be saved to the S3 via the Jupyter that you will have. And maybe you want it to run as a pipeline. So each step in the is the message blah, 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 and our work here what we have done is with the feature store using Jupyter Notebook. So this is all for today, and thank you for watching.